Alrighty. So hey guys, welcome back. For the past few weeks I have been talking about my journey and starting from day one and leading you guys on and on until you guys know the full story. And the point of that is so that I can finally move on from this experience. So I don't really have much to say about my sophomore year other than like I said, when I left you guys off, I stopped participating in VSA. I stopped hanging out with anyone from VSA. And my sophomore year, I actually hung out with a different group of people. And yeah, so towards the end of my sophomore year, I decided to run for public relations officer for VSA. And the only reason I wanted to do that was because all of the old people from VSA were graduating and or didn't want to participate anymore. And one of my close friends at the time, AT, he was going to run for VP, for vice president. So then I thought, that'd be great. We can work alongside each other. And then another good friend of mine, MT, he was running for president. So that was the only reason I decided to run. So that was the end of my sophomore year. I became the public relations officer for VSA. And my hopes were to make the organization less cliquey. And I'm sure all, those that ran, that was their goal. So this week's story, however, actually starts the summer of the end of my sophomore year. This is where it starts. So here we go, back to the story. I'm going through this transition where I'm deleting a lot of my Instagram photos because when I'm done taking my life back, I want to start new and I want to start fresh, getting rid of all of those things that have been toxic to me and all those people who have been toxic to me. The way I see it, if you're not here for me, if you're not here to support me, if, you're not being a friend, then you're not a friend. If you aren't supporting me, then you're not supporting me. So this is the way I see it, seeing life in black and white. So that's why I'm getting rid of all the bad things or all the things that haven't really been helping me in my lifetime. That being said, I purposely left some photos undeleted even though I wanted to delete them. So I left it undeleted because I feel like it's meaningful to my story, this specific story at least. Okay, so let's see. I posted this picture May 8th, 2014. The perpetrator or my attacker, CO, actually messaged me after posting this. He messaged me and he asked me if I really looked like that, like in the picture. And I'm not really sure what he was getting at, but through our conversation, he said, "Oh, I've always had a thing for you." And then I'm like, "What? Really?" And then he's like, "Yeah, why else would I try to get you alone on the rooftop? Or why else would I try to get you onto the rooftop that one time?" And when he said that, I was just like, excuse my language, the fuck? You said that you didn't remember what happened that night, my freshman year. Your friend said you were so high and drunk that you don't remember what happened, and there's no way you could have done, anything to me, like you could have raped me or anything. And so when he said that, I was just like, it's funny how during that time when I needed someone to help me and, someone to believe in me, you made me seem like I was crazy. And now out of nowhere, you just randomly remember, what happened during that time. So I was like really upset. And I remember I showed AP the messages and I was just like, it's funny how he says he doesn't remember, but now all of a sudden he does. Now that it's blown over. After this picture, I made another post, let's see, June 11th, 2014. And this is the post I made was when I sang a cover of Fly. Basically, I sang a 15-second cover of Ellie Werner, I want to say. I can't really say her name. Or Elle Werner. I sang a 15-second cover of her song. In the song, it says, "I can't help being depressed. when I look down at my chest. Oh yes, my chest, it might as well be non-existent. And then it says, how can I ever compete with 34 double D's? Anyway, the song, I really like the song, but the only reason I like specifically said those lines is because I was trying to reach out to like girls with like low self-esteem. You know, I don't have low self-esteem, but like obviously I don't have 34 double D's. It was just the line was funny to me, and yet, you know, girls who have smaller chests shouldn't be worried at all. He messaged me and then he was just like, "Oh, 34 double D's." And he's like, "Oh, you know, you don't have to worry about your chest size." And he was trying to talk about my chest. And the next incident or encounter with him was around his birthday time. So the night before his birthday, July 13th. So I was invited to his party, his birthday party, and you know, the only incident I really had with him was my freshman year. And like I said, it kind of blew over. Something did happen, but like, I didn't get raped. So when I was invited to this party, I was actually debating on whether or not to go. But granted, I was going through a lot at the time. So my sophomore year, I got into a relationship, and towards the summer, you know, we started drifting away just because I was going through a lot at the time. I was working 3 jobs, I was going to school, and the only reason I was working 3 jobs, because I felt like I had to. I was paying for my dad's hospital bill, and you know, so every month I would be sending him money, and I was paying for rent, and so you know, I was going through a lot at the time, and that put me in such like a hard spot, and eventually me and my boyfriend broke up. So like I said, I was going through a lot. So when I got invited to this party, I finally decided that I was going to go. My best friend at the time, AP, and AT were also going to go too. And might I also update you guys, not to pry into their like life, but AP and JP broke up, and then AP and AT started dating. So they were like my 2 closest friends, my 2 best friends. So they were going, and I invited my new friend, CK, and her boyfriend. I told the girls specifically to never leave me alone when we were there. And they agreed. They told me, you know, definitely not. We're not going to leave you alone. During the party, you know, things were okay. Everything was fine. I remember I went into the garage and I saw some people I knew, you know, some people that I previously mentioned in my previous videos, but I don't feel it's necessary to point them out. But long story short, I was having a good time, and then I met a guy, and he seemed pretty alright. We talked, you know, we sat in the dining room away from, not all the way away, there was somebody in the next, like in the kitchen. So we sat in the dining room, we're just talking, and you know, I was trying to get to know him, and he was trying to get to know me. He seemed like a decent guy, and I told him, oh, I just got out of a relationship, and you know, we were just making small talk. So that was pretty cool. So then, you know, everybody's just chilling, having fun, and then the cops came. So because of that, everybody like scattered and left. Everybody was running around, and you know, yeah, I'm not of age. I wasn't of age at that time either. So we're all like, you know, trying to like get away from there. And so we left and we went to McDonald's, and it was right by there. After the McDonald's, AP and AT wanted to leave, and I asked them, hey, you know, you guys want to go back to the party? And they're like, no, we think we're just gonna leave. So I'm like, okay. So they left, and then me and then my 2 friends decided to go back to the party because the guy that I met, he said that, you know, it was still going on, that, you know, the cops, they were just trying to make sure that we keep the noise level down a little bit, but it wasn't any big deal. So then we ended up going back thinking that the party was still going on. But when we got there, there was barely anybody left. And so I remember when we went to the backyard, there was just like these people sitting outside. I think they were smoking. I'm not too sure, but we ended up going inside and just sitting in the living room. And, you know, some people were sitting there with us, so we were just making small talk. And then the guy that I met, he said he was dropping off his friends and that he said he would come back. So, you know, we're just chilling. CO came in the room and he sat next to me, like literally really close to me. So I'm like, okay, what the hell? So I started scooching away from him, like, haha, get away from me. I just didn't feel comfortable. And he had his hand, like, you know, around this area. So it almost seemed like he was about to put it around my waist. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna scoot away now. But I was trying to do it without being noticed. Something about me, I, for some reason, try to be polite even when I shouldn't be. Or, like, even when I shouldn't be to, you know, this horrible person. And anyway, so then he told me that he wanted to talk to me. And he's like, hey, let's go somewhere else so we can talk. Somewhere else more private. And then I told him, like, whatever you need to say, you could just tell me here. I'm not going anywhere. And so I never left with him. Okay, so then later, I asked him, hey, do you have a charger? Because my phone was dying. The party, the area was down south, and I honestly don't really go down there ever. The only time I ever went down there was when I was dating my boyfriend my sophomore year, because he lives down there. Or not all the way down there, but somewhere down south of Atlanta at least. And so obviously I didn't know the area very well, so I have to charge my phone in order to get home. So when I asked him for a charger, he said yes, and he told me to follow him. And I sat there and I looked at him, and he's like, what? You act like I'm gonna do something to you. Come on. So then I'm like, okay. So I followed him up the stairs, and I only went halfway. Okay. So the stairs are, it's one of those stairs that go kind of like it goes this way and then it goes left. So, and then like in the center, there's like a little flat, there's not like a step, but a flat square. So I stopped there and I sat on the step, and I waited for him to come out. So he went into the first room on the right, and he came back out, gave me the charger, and gave me my phone. And I was about to stand up and start walking down the stairs. And hopefully I can like say this without, you know, getting emotional. um, this is what happened next. Okay, so this moment happened, it's weird to say, but it happened really quickly and very slowly at the same time. And I don't know, it feels like there wasn't much going on, but there was so much going on, and I don't know. Here we go. So